Yes, I feel accommodated. And we will start with a haiku. Poetry is thought trapped inside a poet's mind, released as good noise. I actually just wrote this within the last 30 minutes. Does not have a title. Sometimes, maybe often, I write poetry that is contrived. But what is contrived? It is a word that tends to have an arbitrary sensibility. What once was acceptable to the point of trendy becomes passe to the point of lame, then finds its way to retro to the point of chic. A poetry that seems to be contrived can only seem contrived because an accusation of contrivance exists in the seams of a critical mind that often needs to rinse its palate of an acrid taste of sour grapes. I have allowed the words of inopportune critics to guide my own opinions of my own poetry. But if contrived was formerly trendy and can be retro chic, maybe there's a place for contrived poetry in today's ever-changing, indecisive guidelines of what is worth reading or listening to. And I shall accept a critique of contrivance as a compliment and say thank you. It's like when I found an old winter coat in my grandmother's house that was my dad's in his college years, and it turned out to be the most comfortable coat I ever tried on. How contrived of me to make such an analysis. Thank you. Um, this is called Why the Cage Therapy Patient Paints. I don't think Renee Magritte knew Maya Angelou from Adam or even Eve. She was only 9 when he painted The Therapist in 1937. The painting depicted the top half of a sitting man's body as a birdcage, partially covered with a blanket with 2 doves inside. Maybe he time traveled and landed in 1969 Harlem, wandered into a bookstore, and heard a Black American woman's learned voice reading the book she wrote, speaking a truth in a way he had never heard a woman speak before. When he returned to 1937, he destroyed the time machine. He sat he sat contemplating the future for at least an hour or two and realized women had minds of their own that were being wasted by being treated as second-class citizens and being married off. He realized his society caged women in, and in doing so, caged men in by happenstance. He felt caged in himself. Without realizing it, he had been to a psychotherapy session, and Maya Angelou was his therapist. And this is called Why I Keep a Midwife on Speed Dial. Anger does not always happen as screaming, yelling, stomping of feet, fist clenching, teeth gritting, furrowed brows, tattered nerves. Anger is not always born of aggression. It can be born of hurt and confusion, from a womb unaware of the existence of its pregnancy, conceived via an act of deception or betrayal, from a night of passion that foreshadowed a proposal of forever, but materialized into a morning after with an empty other side of the bed that transformed into an insidious, compartmentalized ghost. Anger is not always loud. Anger can exist in silence and stagnation. Anger may not have hard edges that cut and bruise all who come in contact with it. It can be soft. It can be amorphous, made of quicksand, encompassing its host in suspended animation, causing phantom paralysis till whoever owns it realizes the phantom is a phantom, a figment of an emotion or a feeling or a reaction to a life event or events that happened in the past. That is exactly what it is, the past, which can't exist in the present or future due to the fact that the past can only exist in the past. Then the anger starts to shed its skin to reveal a hollow core that is a breath long held, now, now exhaled and let go. Gracias, everyone.